there were like pretty big bouts. And then sometime it was Damien wearing it, and sometimes it was me wearing it, where we felt like we would just get hammered, be like, this is you, this is your life story, and you're not professing Jesus and, and the Father enough. What are you doing here? What is it for? It's in vain. And so we had those moments pretty big. And when Damon would get him real bad, I'd be like, dude, let's just have faith. Let's just see that. Let's just see this one through. Like, I think there always will be a point here. And then Damien would do the same to me, like, hey, listen, there'll always be this point where you don't think like you ran far enough. You don't think you like God's, God's got his imprint. We've like, let's see this one through. So yeah, I more appreciate you saying that, because we were on the other end a lot of times, sort of questioning.
Aloha, everybody. It's Mark. Sorry to hanging out here on Christian Surfers Podcast Talk Story. This is our 5th episode, and we got a very special brother in Christ, husband, father, amazing son, twin brother on the other end of the line, Clifton James Hobgood. CJ, how you doing, buddy? Where are you at right now, and what time is it?
It is 2:22, and this is July 23rd. And I'm in Orlando, Florida, on the 2nd story of my house, actually in my master bedroom. Yeah, and life is good, man. Life is grand. I just actually got a family trip to Colorado that we just got back from, which was nice. Our cup needed to be filled, man. We were like, we needed to do a trip somewhere with the family, and then school's going to start back up here, and then actually I was able to go to California with the family before that. So we eked in a couple trips. So batteries are charged, and me and the wifey are just making it happen, like as best we can, as everyone else is.
I love it, buddy. Still, who says you can't travel during coronavirus and make it happen? Did you get to hang out with Damo and Charlotte for a while when you were in Cali?
Yeah, we did. We hung out with them for a few days and got the families together. And yeah, it was a really good time. I think for the most part, like if you go on a trip with the family and you got kids, like, and even not even so much COVID related, but obviously some of that as well. But like, it's just like you go on a trip and like normally the day before the trip, one of the kids gets sick, or when you're there,
Murphy's Law,
get sick, and you're just like, oh, here we go. And they normally get an earache right before you go on the plane, so that's how that goes. But so no, everyone stayed healthy, so it was awesome.
Yeah. Awesome, buddy. And I know you and I've chatted. You've gone to Colorado before with some of the brothers from Salty and Damo for like a cool, was it John Eldridge retreat? I know you guys have invited me in the past, so if I can make it, did you guys get to hang out with any of those people in Colorado?
No, we didn't, but they do have the Wild at Heart, Ransom Heart.
That's what it is
there, and that's been awesome. And I've actually been reading. I'm actually reading. I think it's called "Becoming a King" by Morgan Snyder, and it's been really good, dude. It's been really good. And then John Eldridge actually has a new book out. I think it's called "Get Your Life Back."
Nice.
They're pretty applicable for these times right now, which is really cool. And God's been speaking to me through those guys and their words and what they learned, and so that's been cool. I've been trying to read more. Just do different stuff. Obviously, I've been swimming in the pool a lot more. I don't know.
There you go.
Not. It's weird. Surfers like don't ever swim. We paddle on surfboards. We don't just like, if we're gonna go swim, we're gonna surf, you know?
That's it. Yeah. We're too lazy to swim without a board.
Yeah. We don't swim, but I've been swimming a bit too. And we have a lake down the way here. So, and that's been fun because it's kind of like long form meditation. I don't know if your head's down.
Yeah.
And whatever you're staring at gets pretty boring pretty quick. So you kind of just try to close your eyes and just like, it takes a while to get the brain to release, but it's kind of just long form meditation. And that's been cool as well.
That's up. So are you just like praying with each stroke, or what do you kind of like thinking or meditating on?
Once my brain starts to give up, and you know how the brain is, it's so bad. It just goes every which way. But what normally sets the direction for me is worship music. I just start singing worship music.
Really? That's rad. What's on CJ's worship music playlist right now? Who you been listening to? The Hillsong or the Blessing Elevated Worship?
Yeah, I listen to all that stuff. You know what? I'm a really bad singer, and my family, I always get the words wrong. So like if they're saying one thing, I always like make it into my own thing, you know? And I really love, and I think I'm even saying it, but the peace be still, say the words, and I will. So I've been singing that song a little bit, but just
I love it.
Quietly.
Well, dude, we got next Christian Surfers Conference. Obviously, this year's
worship
we got to do it online, but we're going to hire you as the next worship leader.
Worship team coming at it. Hillsong.
That's it. You and Damo Double Dragon. Well, speaking of Florida, I was going to say, how are things in Florida for you guys now with, mom and dad and family and all the kids? How's the vibe in Orlando and in the state right now? Is it pretty serious, or are people still pretty lax, or is everyone wearing masks, or how safe do you guys feel?
Yeah, everyone's on the mask program. And, Florida's pretty Florida. It's like, whatever, some people don't want to wear masks. Some people, it's funny, people like, they really have their ways and how they make life work. And you can kind of see that a little bit. Are you hearing me or no? Is this working or not? You froze now. Lanzarote. Some of those countries have the best internet, though. Could it be mine? Oh, you're.
But we're back. We're persevering, as you mentioned earlier, CJ. We're persevering in the gospel. And welcome to episode 5 or 6 of the Christian Surfers Talk Story podcast with none other than Clifton James Hobgood. Now, CJ, you normally get these pretty grandiose intros at surf events, like 1999 Rookie of the Year, ASP, 2001 World Champion, 16 long years on the WCT, ton of surf movies. But I want to introduce you as an amazing father, husband, son, twin brother, but more importantly, lover and follower of Jesus, and professional podcaster of the Salty Crew Ship's Log, CJ Hobgood. Thanks for making time for us, buddy. I know it's been a journey to get this to work. We know how busy you are, and we know how unreliable the electricity is here in Lanzarote.
And amen to that, because they retired all that stuff, all those accolades, I guess you could say. And it's been cool that I have been able to really dive into and go to God. I'm like, all right, how do I be a father? How do I be a husband with all these stages of life? We got a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So
wow,
it honestly, surfing and that life there's days that I can't even remember it. It seems so, and I say that in the best way because it just shows the growth and the sort of journey. But you know what? I wrote something down that I heard. These aren't my words, never, and nothing's really my words. And let me see.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's under my good words tab. If what you do is who you are, then who you are. Okay. If what you do is who you are, then who are you when you don't do what you do anymore? If what you have, who you know, and where you're from is who you are, then who are you when those things go away? So yeah, I wrote that down, and it really sort of struck me. I've been like, yeah, like your identity can't be wrapped up in those things because what do you do when they're gone?
Yeah.
And then you grapple with that, and then it sort of impedes you of getting to that next season and that next chapter. So thank you for introducing me. Thank you for introducing me as not as maybe who you know me as of late. So that's cool.
Thanks for dropping the bombs of wisdom as always, CJ. And
never my words. Only a student.
Amen. We're just broken brothers and men doing our best to follow Jesus. And I love that about identity because, I think as the world it is nowadays, it's Satan just speaks all these lies, and you kind of just grab onto sometimes these things that are false, but it's really who we really are as people who created us. What's our purpose in life? What are we here for? And you kind of found that, and you've always been so open about that, and that's what I really appreciate about you. But I know we spoke on the first podcast, semi-podcast, we spoke about Courtney crushing it in real estate, how you guys are handling COVID in Florida, your family trip to Colorado, which you guys needed a big recharge. You're reading a book, Becoming a King by Morgan Snyder.
That's right.
You've been busy. Yeah, and we talked about how surfers do not like swimming.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that.
Long form meditation.
Yeah. So as you sort of dip your toes into these new things, you try to find the tools to, so you can show up, be engaged. Me and my buddy actually were on a run this morning, and we were sort of going over just the war of attrition and how do you show up every day, with just a little bit. We don't need a lot. We just need you to stay in the game. And it was funny because we, so we were running, but it could be swimming. I just went for a quick paddleboard with the 7-year-old and the 15-year-old, my
Nice.
2 daughters. But yeah, so just staying engaged with them and their lives, and just sort of, it's cool because I was sort of waiting, and now there's been this viral video that's been going around. It's the guys talking about being a dad. And I'm like,
okay,
hallelujah, amen. I'm like, that's it. Like, cause I think those are good things to, cheerlead along, because the symptoms from that will be able to get ground against a lot of these things in the world.
Yeah.
It's just like we always say, like, if you want to run a marathon, you don't just run a marathon. You actually just run a couple miles every day, 4 times a week, 5 times a week for 6 weeks, and then you go run one. Like, that's what you do. And you actually never run a marathon until it's the time to do it,
Yeah.
So
you work your way up to it.
Yeah. So how do you, how do we sit here and cheerlead equality and do all these things? Like, how do we minutely do a mile every day so we can run that marathon? You can't cheerlead equality on by standing up and just saying, like equality, like it doesn't work like that. God didn't design it like that. It's not baked in like that. And how do you be a good husband? How do you be a good dad? Like you just do a little bit every day. You stay engaged, the war of attrition. So kind of getting off on a little side note, but
no, I love it. Preach it. Come on, CJ.
But be able to do that, you have to have tools, and then that's what we started talking about was like, oh, I started getting into swimming. And that for me, that was long form meditation. And it's funny as surfers, because we just like, when we're paddling, we're always like looking at that next wave and we're like, I got no energy. And all of a sudden you see a perfect wave come by. You're like, got all this energy. But swimming doesn't provide that. So there we go. That was sort of wrapping that up.
No, that's epic. No, I knew you were talking about how it's kind of like long form meditation. You've been praying, and totally a little bit less exciting. You're just kind of like staring down at the ground and said, "There's no next wave that's coming." But I love that, and just training. And then we also talked about the Hobgood Hillsong worship team potentially playing at the next International Christian Surfers Conference.
Yeah, but you know what that teaches you, because it is uncomfortable. You got your swimming, you got your head down. This is boring. It's a different sort of cardio. But all those things are teaching you to just sit in uncomfortable situations, because, basically that is what marriage can be at a lot of times. That's what, dealing with your kids. It's just like, back to that run this morning, I was talking with my buddy. I was like, yeah, God designed relationships because we can't control them. Like you can't control a relationship. I can't control how, and the worst way to show up in a relationship is to try to control it. That's just the worst way. So you're now, you're in these situations that you can't control. And then the result is you have to sit in areas that are uncomfortable. And that's sort of what we are learning to do in the physical sense when we do these activities, I'm thankful that, I don't know. It's such, you can last so much longer if you show up to like activities or in the physical form that way, because then, but like, I always think if I just worked out to like try to be skinny or try to stay in shape, like that wouldn't last. You know what I'm saying? That's not enough of a carrot. But if I told you needed to work out in the physical sense to learn how to get uncomfortable and stay in the spiritual and the mind uncomfortableness, you'd be like, oh, okay. It's just more sustainable. It's longer,
Longer. Yeah, it's not as temporary. It's more permanent.
You're going to show back up the next day.
Yeah, exactly. We need to. Well, maybe instead of worship, we need to hire you for like swimming and running meditations at the next CS conference.
It'll probably just change. It'll probably change though, because you're kind of just taking an adventure anyways with the Father, and be like, all right, man, what tools do I need?
Daddy love.
To make it.
Well, I love how you're open, you're open to, you're not just, obviously you surf, but you do all these other things, and you're open to other ideas and activities. And you've always just been honest about how, you want to grow as a person. And we definitely need to have you and Damo on a panel with just about being a dad and learning from you guys and being a father.
Oh yeah. Give us another 10 years and then we'll be able to sprinkle it on. Maybe.
All right. You got it. Well, there's still a lot we can learn from you in the meantime. I did want to ask you, you've been in a lot of the Christian Surfer Bibles. Has anyone ever come up to you and asked you, CJ, could you sign my Bible for me?
Have you guys made one of lately that I missed? Hopefully
we're working on a new edition.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're just trying to kind of raise the money for it, because printing Bibles is pretty expensive.
Yeah, totally. If it's any encouragement, I have signed plenty of Christian Surfers Bibles that my testimony was in. And yeah, you got to update the testimonies because stories are living, and they, some of us have passed away, and so the testimony's there, but yeah, sometimes you need to update it because the stories continue.
Definitely. Well, we'll update your photos and
you got new, and we got new. What we got, as people ask Jesus into their life, you get the kingdom grows, man. So there's so many people, and it's cool. We want to learn from them. Might have to retire mine. I have to retire.
We're at the frame your Bible, CJ. No, that's so awesome. No, you've always been part of the ohana, and you always will be. And I did want to ask you what you thought about Matt Beecham, now leading the Christian Surfers Kitty Hawk chapter as their chapter director.
Well, I thought it was a great thing. I thought that not only God's going to work through him, but he's a staple in that community. People know him. People trust him. He's got character, and he'll grow. He's getting into his, and he's been sort of chasing discomfort anyways. I mean, he went to Las Vegas and lived. He was in California. So he's definitely taken the long way home, so he can appreciate all those things. And I actually got up to see him last year when we were touring in 2F by Sea, and we got to hang out in the theater. He had his daughter. I think his daughter maybe lasted 10 minutes before she pulled the eject button. But I've really been stoked to watch his story and watch all that. So that's been really cool. Yeah, Matt Beecham. Yeah, Beecham.
I know you guys go way back, and for me, you guys are always like, I saw you like in Noah's Ark and Damon and Will and Beecham and Jesse. I was like, this is the Christian Surfers East Coast momentum generation. So,
not too far off. I actually, Billy Diggs was texting with me a couple days ago, and he was like, dude, the crew is back together. We're playing basketball like old times. We got Noah, we got Jesse. And I was like, oh, that's so sick. And then another story popped into my head. We were in Mazatlan, mainland Mex there on a trip with Beecham for it might have been the Outsiders.
Wow.
And I just remember, when Beecham gets in his funny mode, and it is just like you can't get him out of it. He is just, dude, he probably slipped into comedy mode for like a couple days, and like there's not too many things I remember, but I just remember being in there and the bunk beds, and I just remember just Beecham being on fire, funny guy. So
he's the entertainer. You can't beat him. You can't beat him. Well, we love you, Matt. Hope you're watching this podcast. And CJ, we talked a little bit about Abe Andrews earlier when you were on. He was on tour with you as a chaplain. How has it been transitioning? I think you retired. Was it 2015, 2016?
Mm-hmm.
How has it been for you? Okay, how has it been for you for I guess the last couple of years? Life kind of post pro surfing. Transitioning out of that.
It's a long one for sure. I think there's some like I said, there's some light. I'm very comfortable. And then all the things that God's been doing, man, you sort of, it's hard to see what you have to just take those little steps like we were talking about before to see like the truest thing, because you think you need to go surf, or you think you need to like do these things that you just don't need to do. And so, we're 5 years in, 5.5 years in, and I'm just starting to really be at peace. So it takes time. But it was cool to sort of see, you know, as it relates to Abe and all those things that God was doing in his life, as far as like he took those steps of faith. You know, he was getting married, he was being a chaplain. Look, I know it's great to travel the world and be on tour, but you know, Abe did a really good job, man. He did a really, really good job as far as how just being there for others. And that was really cool. That was kind of a special time, you know. Who knows what that looks like as far as the tour goes. I mean, we haven't had a chaplain on tour in a long time. So Abe was the last one, dude. And I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, who knows what that looks like. But no, that was a cool time. That really was a cool time.
Yeah. And you were such a special part of that, CJ. And he was obviously the first and the last for the men's CT. You know, on the women's side, we had Lizelle and Anna Barron. Mm-hmm. And then I know there are a few guys volunteering on the QS as well. But we'll see. That might change again in the future. We'll pray for God to, you know, if he opens another door with the WSL for us to get back in there as chaplains. Did you have any thoughts on kind of how the tour is, you know, formatted now? There's been a lot of changes.
And Anna, man, she was, what a blessing she was to some of those girls on tour. Wow, that was. Yeah. I was watching from a distance, but it was cool, dude. It was all things stripped away. It was just showing up in love, and time again that you know, God was able to do what he does. So that was really cool to see. And then as far as the tour goes nowadays, it's interesting, man. It's I don't know what kind of fan I am even at this point. I think it's you know, I still follow a little bit. I really get pumped on the kids and watching them just sort of do their thing and make it their own. It seems to have been, you know, the tour has seemed, you know, a little formulaic. I don't even think that's a word. But it
is now.
Got a lot of, you know, there are a lot of preservatives, and I don't know how raw organic it is. So sometimes it tastes a little funny, but sometimes it tastes pretty good. So I don't know. I think everyone sort of feels that way. I think there's times where like, that was sick, and then there's just time where it's just like, you know, I guess I'm still a fan, you know. So I don't know. I want to say that like I'm beating them up. I'm just trying to like give you an honest interpretation of the feelings that I have. It's like, I love the kids. I love to see them grow. I love to see them navigate life, you know, with surfing being the vehicle. But, you know, upper level as far as the sport of surfing, those are my thoughts with the sport of it a little bit.
No, thanks so much for sharing, CJ. And I know, back to kind of Anna, I know that, you know, she, like you said, she impacted Carissa and a lot of the girls. I think you coached Carissa, was it at Fiji a few years ago?
Yeah. We did a little experiment there. It was great. Like, we both learned a lot from each other. I think in a lot of relationships, I think we learned that we had a lot to offer, but the timing of the season wasn't perfect for us, which was really cool for us to equally sort of be open to that understanding, because that left room for us to still have a great relationship, and basically just a fan, you know, like just me being a huge fan of her. And so with that said, like, I know there's other opportunities down the road. So it wasn't like the but it was really cool to learn, a lot about myself. And I sort of showed up in a way where I was like, I kind of just jumped out of surfing. And for me to jump, retire and then jump back into it, wasn't the right thing to do for me or for my family. And so I had to own that, and I had to, communicate that to her as much as I was invested, and much as like I didn't want to start something and stop something. So she understood, and there were things that she was going through that she realized, that she, just life and time just needs to grow as a person, that, some of the things that I was bringing to the table weren't in that timely manner, for her to fully benefit. So it was cool. It was mutual.
Yeah. I think anyone would be just honored and blessed and stoked to learn from you, Brody. So thanks for being there for her. And it's interesting because you look at this advent of like coaches. Obviously now almost everyone's got a coach, right, on tour, but you think about like Abe and Anna and Chaplaincy, it was almost like they were the coaches for like the faith aspect. You guys were able to kind of coach with like sportsmanship and strategy and technique, and then they were always there, just kind of available as coaches for people that had questions about faith. And we definitely miss those guys, but those guys are always around, and hopefully we can get you to come out and talk about old stories with them. Talk story at the next international conference. It'd be rad to see you up there with Abe and Anna.
Yeah, that would be that would be rad to listen to their sort of, not only their stories, but their understanding or interpretation, 5 years down the track after the fact, as far as what they learned and just the stuff that God is doing in their lives, and cool stories along the way. But
totally.
Yeah, but as far as the coaching thing goes, like, I mean, you're essentially trying to get someone that is very gifted, very talented, to be completely in the moment and free, and
right.
And to get to that point, like, there's so many factors there's so many ingredients that have to go into that, and everyone's different at a different stage and a different season where they're able to perform under that. You've got to be able to do the physical side of it, where I've done absolutely all the work I can do. I've controlled all the things I can control. And then the other side is like your boards and your technique, and where are my strengths, where are my weaknesses? And then life, in the season of life that you're in, like, are you comfortable with, where you are in your life? Do you want a significant other? Do you want to be loved in which way? And then if you have kids, it's like, how much do I miss my kids? So it's like getting them to that point is in that particular season where they're out there just free as a bird, separated from the result, and being able to give it everything they have, is something that's just not easy to do. And every single person and every single day becomes a little different, and what you bring to the table at that particular point determines if you're good or not, or if it worked, because they're all kind of experiments at that point.
Yeah. So you're kind of looking at the package holistically, just all the different things that, people may be dealing with in their life.
Yeah, well, you have to, because like if you're coaching someone that's 30 or you're coaching someone that's 18, you view everything different, and you look at things different, and your understanding of the world is completely different. So you have to come up with a 180. Could you say the same word and use something completely, use completely different words? Well, then, yeah, that's what you're doing. And it's not.
Yeah. I love it. Well, 360 worldviews, we know everyone's got a different one. CJ, let's talk about your film, the documentary, And To If by Sea, for a little bit. I know Justin recently flew out to Waco, paid for a little session at BSR, and I was like, dude, why don't you just wait for Damo and CJ to open up their pool?
Yeah, Justin's such an awesome dude, and he actually came back to us with a lot of insight. He's like, look, I was so stoked to show up as a kook, as a paid, as someone that jumped online, as someone that had no, I mean, look, the preconceived ideas or expectations were the stuff that you see on social, but no one put any input, and he just went there, and then this is what he found out. Like, this was good, but this was not good. Like, I would have been able to have a better heightened experience if all these things were taken care of. So we just like got all these notes that he gave us. So he was doing some recon. He was working. So thank you, Justin.
R&D for you.
Yeah.
The undercover spy.
And that's been a fun relationship, Justin, being great friends with him, are being, at a very young age, making movies when we were like 13 to 15, Horseplay, All the Way Live, all these. And then for him to go off and do his thing for a decade or more, and then us sort of come back together and try to make this film into If by Sea, which was, a learning process for us all. And we had ideas, and but we just never gave up, and we just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept working and kept grinding. And that was, we had a lot of faith, obviously, and there were times it was a really good team. There would always be someone that would be, out of the three of us, we'd be always like, someone always when is in a position of like, I'm done, I'm over this, don't bug me, don't call me, this is not going to happen. And it was like, that's when, the next person would stand up and be like, we got this. And so it was really cool. We kind of did that for like a long time.
I know it was a long journey for you guys. You guys were, ever so patient. I know it wasn't easy. I remember the first Kickstarter campaigns for the funds, and it's just such a cool story that you and Damo have with him. I think being your childhood friend, and like you said, coming back full circle, serendipitous. And I think early on when we talked to you guys about the movie, when you guys were first working on it, I know that you guys had a cool position that you guys didn't want it to be this, generic quote unquote Christian surf film, that you wanted it to be just a movie, a story that anybody could relate, whether you're a Christian or a follower of Jesus or not, whether you're a surfer or not. And I love that angle that you guys took with that movie.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because there were like pretty big bouts. And then sometime it was Damien wearing it, and sometimes it was me wearing it, where we felt like we would just get hammered, be like, this is your life story, and you're not professing Jesus and, and the Father enough. What are you doing here? What is it for? It's in vain. And we had those moments pretty big. And when Damon would get him real bad, I'd be like, dude, let's just have faith. Let's just see that. Let's just see this one through. Like, I think there always will be a point here. And then Damien would do the same to me, like, hey, listen, there'll always be this point where you don't think like you ran far enough. You don't think you like God's, God's got his imprint. We've like, let's see this one through. So yeah, I more appreciate you saying that, because we were on the other end a lot of times, sort of questioning.
Yeah. I know there's probably so much behind the scenes that you guys dealt with that the rest of us have no idea. So thank you for making an amazing movie. So ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't watched it yet, make sure you download it and buy it on iTunes or anywhere online.
You can get it. I'm sorry. What? You can get it on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, I know different countries are different, but it's on there. So and that would be free. Obviously you have to have Amazon Prime. But I think a lot of people do.
I love it. Yeah, no, yeah. I think the whole world has Amazon Prime by now.
Okay,
Although
yeah.
it's not available here in the Canaries.
But it's funny. I was like, yeah, you can get it free on Amazon Prime, and then like I'm like thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, well, you do got to pay for Amazon Prime. But then you're like, well, everyone has it.
That's it. Well, awesome movie. It's worth it. Get Amazon Prime. Buy the movie now. CJ, before we go into the lightning round, I wanted to ask you, with everything that you know now, and I know you're always telling me and the rest of us that you're always growing and learning, but what kind of advice would you give yourself, like to yourself when you were 20 years old, or your younger self now, knowing what you know now?
What kind of advice? Wow. I don't know. I think, well, it's always the blessing and the curse. Yeah, it would be patience. It would just be like those areas that I really truly were lacking. And it was good because it made me like push the issue and try to be a go-getter. But I wasn't patient. I wasn't patient in a lot of areas of my life. And so I would tell myself to be patient, and to be okay with sitting in a situation that wasn't comfortable. And I would tell myself to be a little bit nicer to my siblings. I think looking back, no love's been lost, but I think looking back, I just know that a lot of my siblings treated me better than I treated them. I think, which is, and I don't use that as like shame or condemnation or like I'm living in guilt or anything. I just, in a nice way, I would have, treated them a little more fairly, I should say.
I love it. Good words from CJ Hobgood. Be more patient and be more kind. All biblical. So
yeah,
right up the alley, buddy.
pretty blanket ones, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but important and hard to work on. Lightning round for you. Before we wrap up this podcast, thank you so much for your time, brother. We know how busy you are. So all the coffee's on me whenever I'm in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
And all the kids, come on, doesn't have to be at Surf Expo.
Peanut butter and Jesus, man.
There you go.
Peanut butter and Jesus. That's a good story, right? Because Surf Expo, we've been going there forever. The peanut butter and Jesus comes around, and you guys are doing a good thing, right? Because they shut you down. Didn't they shut you down?
They did.
No more PBs and Jesus. You guys were on to the gold.
We got complaints from the vendors at the show that were, paying to be there. They're like, hey, there's these weird Christian people walking around giving away free food, banana bread and peanut butter, and they're taking away business from us. And the guys are like,
PB&J, peanut butter and Jesus. That's right. Yeah, so you guys were onto something good. You don't get shut down if you're doing something. That you guys were frontier about that, dude. I love that story.
Well, you are always our number one customer, CJ. I knew if I could get anyone to take the sandwich, I could go by the salty booth and CJ would be down to take one for Jared and the whole gang.
That is true. It was like, I know where to get rid of this supply. I know where to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, that's one thing I wanted to say about you. You're always slinging some of the coolest apparel with Salty now. You're slinging coolers with Igloo, and you're always slinging Jesus. And that's what I love about you.
Amen. Amen.
But first question on the lightning round with CJ Hobgood: bodyboard, hand plane, shortboard, longboard, fish, sup, or foil. Have you been doing the foiling thing lately?
I have been doing the foiling thing, and I've been like super stoked on like bodyboarding lately, which is kind of weird. I haven't been doing the hand foiling thing. But the good news is I'm at a level with foiling where I don't feel like I'm going to kill myself. I got over that, first 3 times where it's just like you're going to get scalped and you're going to end up, in the hospital. So over that, I actually caught my first wave and was able to pump to the next wave and catch another one. And I dropped the mic and I haven't gone back since. And that was like a month ago.
Sick. I love that. Beaches, reef, or point break? What's your pick?
Oh man, beaches. Really, there's something about being so close to the beach, and like the closer you are to the sand, the funner the wave becomes for some reason. So like just triangles right on the beach, the fun meter is the furthest in the red.
I love it. The wave count, wave magnet, CJ. This one was a little bit too easy for you, so I had to kind of tweak it to make it a little bit harder. But big, massive right or tiny, small, mushy left?
Oh yeah, we'll go right for sure. But it's got to be like it's got to be a barrel that's none of these almond barrels like that you're like us goofy footers are trying to squeeze into all the time. We just want a super duper round barrel that we can just sit on our butts and just get spit out in the channel.
Perfect. I knew if it was going to be like the same wave, right or left, you were going to probably pick left. So I was like, let's make an epic right and a small left.
Yeah, there we go. That got me.
Single fin 20 thruster quad bonzer. What's your pick? I know you've done a couple like specialty contests, I think, with some weird alternative boards.
Yeah, there was a time where I almost went quad and I forget what year it was, maybe like 14 or 13, where I almost rode I rode about 75% of the events on a quad one year. And now I've been riding all twin fins. I'd say 75% of the time I'm riding twin fins the last year or two. So there you go, twin fins. It'll change though.
Get on some. We'll get on some quads or 20s while CJ loves them. Barrels, turns, or airs?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a barrel, but it's definitely the barrels. It's definitely the barrels where you paddle in and you're like, and you stand up in the barrel. Like that's the funnest. That's the feeling.
That's the sweet spot for you.
That's the feeling.
That. And then on the opposite of that, what would be your least favorite wave in the world?
My least favorite wave in the world would be there's like at Bells, the tides are really extreme. So in Bells where they move up to Rincon. There's like a wave. It's called Rincon. It has nothing to do with like the good Rincon, but there's a wave up there, and it is like on the forehand. It's kind of fun because you can kind of like zing over, but like on your backhand, there's no pocket, so you're like
just
waiting for the wave to stand up, and it never does, and you're like, you got full leg burners, and you're like, I didn't do a turn, I didn't do nothing of substance, and now I got to go out there and do like, yeah, that was always a hard. Those are low moments for me. In high tide Bells, Rincon, that's it.
Wow, well, that's the answer. Those are tough moments for all of us goofy footers, and so we feel your pain, brother.
Right, yes. I wasn't expecting anyone to, but
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Now, normally I ask worst burn in Christian surfers, but for you, I've changed it a little bit. Which guy on tour was the worst at dropping in on people? Was it Damo?
The worst burn. So like you would ask people like, who cut you off the worst?
Yeah, who dropped in on you on the worst? But who for you, I guess, was the worst guy on tour to like always surf with and always burned you?
Oh man, I don't know if I remember just super blatant burns. Yeah, I don't. I just remember.
Wiped your memory.
Yeah, I do have some amnesia in good areas. I remember. I just remember getting burned at trussels all the time. I remember like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go practice for my heat, and then you just get burned, and you're like, oh. I just remember trussels being a place where I would always get burned, Yeah. And then I remember Gold Coast is like, or a snapper where you like, you could never do a turn or what you wanted to do because someone was always in your road, not burning you, but like just paddling out.
Yeah.
So
Just in
yeah,
your way.
I remember getting burned by everyone at Trestles, and then I remember trying to, practice a snapper and not being able to do what the wave maybe was calling for because he would run over somebody. So it's not really, not really great
crazier
answer.
now. No, that's fair. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys see CJ at the Goldie or at Trestles, give him your next wave. The brother deserves it.
No, don't ever give me a wave. Yeah, don't do that. I've gotten my fair share. You go and I'll wait for the next one.
There you go. CJ Hobgood practicing his patience, which he preaches. Second to last question for you, buddy. So this year we were going to host the Christian Surfers International Conference at North Coast Calvary Chapel in Carlsbad, which is where I think Damo goes to church. But obviously everything got canceled this year because of COVID.
But that's all right. You guys are going to do it next year, right? You're going to do it next year there?
That's right. Well, that's the plan. But if it doesn't happen, when could we plan it or host it at your new wave park in Palm Springs?
Oh yeah, that would be that'd be pretty epic. And what's so cool about that is it's gonna be. I have this vision of it like being the Triple Crown because the Palm Springs Surf Club.
Yep.
Kelly doing his thing, and then I was like, all right, if all these things can get built, I figured like it could be like the Triple Crown, like Haleiwa, Pipe, and Sunset, and they'll all be different, and then you could go like Disney World, where you get like the 3-park pass, and then you could just go to all
the Icon
of them.
Pass.
Yeah, the Icon Pass. There we go. So, and then there's like probably like epic convention centers there where we can all just, So, look, not only will we be offered up, but I even think it's bigger than that. I think it's just all of them, right? We're going to all the wave pools, So that's what I've envisioned. We're just we're a small part of that.
Oh, that's epic, CJ. I'm booking a coaching session with you right now at your surf park, the Triple Crown of Palm Springs, right here. And we're gonna get Surf Expo to move from Orlando to Palm Springs. And go surf.
I bet Palm Springs would be stoked, man. They would be pumped.
It'd be good business for them. Instead of Typhoon Lagoon, we're all going to go to CJ's wave park. Do you guys have a name for it yet?
We don't. We haven't really. Just the blessing for us has just been, with the COVID thing happening and the hotels, because a lot of these cities and municipalities make money off bodies in beds in hotels. So when that got taken away, it really opened up this just amazing opportunity for us, because they were like, before they were like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And now they're like, yeah, whatever you guys want to do. Like that plan, don't worry about that plan. The other plan that you want to do, that one's cool now, Wow. So as far as in, it's very attractive. So it was like a full blessing for us. And so we were able to closely work together with Palm Springs. And they really have come to the table big time. So that not only helps us out, with the investors and financial sides of it, but we're able to, ultimately get to the finish line here. With the least amount of hurdles going over. So it's been cool. I don't think we have this sort of, it's called desert surf. But, like surf breaks, they have a lot of different names. So, so it's desert surf right now. But if you go there and you go like, it's called, the Coyote Ugly, then you could call it that, or I don't know, like what are the Rattlesnake Pit? I don't know, like they always call, the like Kelly's wave pool, the ranch, the basin. So we're surfers, right? We call it what we call it, and So I don't want to manipulate that too much. It's just like when we get there and we get our feet wet and whatever name we want to call it at that time, that's what it'll be called.
Epic. CJ's left. We'll do an Instagram contest for you to see who could come up with the most creative names for the different waves at your park. But we're excited. We're going to be praying for the project. Hope it's smooth sailing, and praise God that you guys have more flexibility to do what you guys want to do there.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
Human cannonball into the barrel with CJ, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Last question for you, buddy. How can we be praying for you, Courtney, mom and dad, Damien, and all the kids, and the whole Hobgood ohana?
Yeah, man, it's I really appreciate that. I have people that consistently ask me that, and or the people that pray for me, pray for my family.
Dean Plumley.
Yeah, Dean, oh man, yeah, what an awesome dude. But for the most part, it's just health. I think health goes. I think we've been able to really appreciate all these little things. So health and just the fact that I can go to the grocery store and buy food for my family, that we can have dinners, that we can eat out, that there's money there.
Yeah.
So. All those blessings, and kind of just for the kids a lot as they navigate life, and you want them to continue to you want God just to be a big part of their life as they continue to navigate it. So yeah. But no, thank you for this opportunity, for allowing me to be here, and I feel like that Christian Surfers, and I'm just forever a part of you guys and that brotherhood.
You are,
whether you like it or not. So,
dude, you are. Cool. You're in for life. Cool. The mafia.
Yeah, seriously. So it's cool to have a chat for sure.
Awesome. We love you, CJ. God bless you. May the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. Thank you so much for making time, buddy. And we'll see you in Palm Springs soon. We're all booking a coaching session with you.
straight from Carlsbad into Palm Springs. It's already in the books.
I love it, buddy. All right, CJ, take care, man.
All right, blessings, guys.
And, we'll see you soon.
All right, cheers. You.